Have you checked the children?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Bienvenidos, worldwide Freight fans. I'm Jaime and Fuego.
Robert Duell.
And we are here to do a special discussion here on The Horror Show. Welcome, everyone. This is all about The Color Out of Space, and this is kind of a spoiler discussion, but also like a comparison with the source material. When we did our initial review at the film bar, Robert was the only one who had read the source material previously, had that proper familiarity with it, and yes, I have since read the story, listened to it both on audiobook and Reddit Man, and it was much better than I was anticipating. I felt like, honestly, it was going to be... I know, and I respect this man's opinion significantly, so it's not like there was any doubting, but I've had lots of people say that Lovecraft is too wordy, he's tough to get through sometimes, and I didn't find that to be the case at all with this particular short story.
No.
It's lean and mean, it's 28 pages, and it's really intriguing, though, because of the fact that the Richard Jenkins short story adaptation, because he also co-wrote the script here, it really focuses upon one aspect of a bigger picture, which is, this infection that is just going all over the place after the landing of this meteorite. And, when we're doing spoiler discussions, we really just leave it all on the floor and we just roll with it and stuff like that, man. So, short story-wise, though, just to give some clarification about that first, would you say that you enjoyed one or the other more so? I mean, where do you think you land
honestly,
in that
I'm
regard?
still half and half, because the more I thought about The Color Out of Space, the movie, the more I dug the hell out of it. Like Jaime was saying previously, I had already read the short story numerous times, so going into this, I'm thinking something completely different, and I was...
Preconceptions, as we say.
I was blown away with how they did this movie, because there were some scenes in there I was not expecting that weren't even anywhere in the story, and it got me so good. But honestly, it's still really hard, because I do love the story, but now it's like I dig the hell out of this movie. Way more than I thought I was going to.
Yeah, it's only a portion of the story, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So whereas like the original short, published in 1927, I believe. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and yet taking place in 1880.
Early 1880s.
1882. Let's just say early 1880s. Why the hell not? It's referred to as the 80s by our narrator in the short and stuff like that. But it's really just a particular part of the story as opposed to the full scope. So it does make it more personalized, and it does make it, in that aspect, a little more heart-wrenching, because with a short that's only 28 pages long, I can't say that I really felt as much for the Gardner family in the short as I did for them in this film.
The movie definitely fleshes out
that
the events of what happened.
Yeah, it totally does. And yet, in the short, you get... This is the cool thing about literature versus film in a lot of ways, is the fact that you do get an expanded aspect of story despite being condensed, page time in this.
Yeah.
I mean, you get so much more about how it affected just the environment afterwards, and it takes place over a year as opposed to just like a number of days like in the film.
Yeah, I think it was within maybe 2 weeks, I think, or 2 or 3 weeks within for the film time. And like you were saying, it's about a year and a half for the story-wise.
But, I mean, as you mentioned during the previous review, dude, it describes the just desolation and dissolving of both livestock and crops so disgustingly and disturbingly. It's really, really effed up, man.
I wish they would have delved more into this on the movie.
We got a few bits of it, and since this is a spoiler review, I mean, we have
full on
mushed up livestock at
it was
particular
cool.
points, man.
So going back, if you already watched our previous review, I talked about a thing homage, and that's basically when you go into the barn and you see all the alpacas meld together like the dogs. Yeah,
they're just one
cool.
big mush of mushy nastiness, man.
Because there were some scenes you're looking at it, it's like, all right, well, is that dog and other animals? And then you look at it, you're like, well, now what the hell is it? Like,
yeah, because the dog had been missing for a little bit.
Yeah.
And we didn't necessarily know what happened.
Unless you saw, like, he ran off into the light after he was growling at it and everything like that, and this is the last time you saw the dog.
Yeah.
But,
yeah,
oh man,
exactly.
that scene was crazy cool.
That scene was crazy cool, and it showed just that, I mean, in the darkness, it obviously, with whatever sort of, lacking aspects we might have had with some of the digital, I mean, it looked convincing. Cool.
It did. That was definitely nice, very well done practical.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's for damn sure.
Yeah, and then obviously the biggest bit that we have in this, so there are two different characters that get locked in the attic in the short story, but we have something locked in the attic of a much more disturbing accord, and so we have like these pinkish like blasts of energy that are coming around at particular times in this in the Stanley film, and man, when one hits our mother and the child who was also in The Haunting of Hill House, we have some body melding going on. And
I was not expecting that at all.
I can't remember the last time a movie when I was sitting in theater just made me literally be like, oh my god. I was just that upset by what I saw. And the practical of the half mother, half son, and they're like back to back, neck to neck, and they're trying to talk, but they can't.
All their other bodies are literally like fusing together within the time that everything is going down. It's nuts.
Yeah,
and then when you get to that final scene in the attic, holy crap, I was not expecting that.
Yeah, with the spider like creeping around.
Yeah.
That was one that me and Cecil hinted at in the previous review, and we were just like, yeah, there's two scenes in this movie in particular that really unsettled us significantly, and they both take place in an attic.
Yeah.
It's just like, my god, it's super cool looking.
And that's not in the original story.
Yeah,
that didn't happen. So basically the mother went crazy, locked in the attic, and then the other son went crazy and got locked in the other room, basically upstairs adjacent from the attic. And yeah, none of that happened. They basically basically combusted in a sense and everything, and basically all that was left was just piles of gray dust.
True.
And that's how it happens in the story, but with the movie, holy crap, that was so much more effective.
It's a little more brutal, a little more elaborate, with having to kill the fused version of your youngest child and your wife, and when he made out with her, and the
that was so gross
and everything.
He goes back in for the second and the third kiss. I'm pretty sure there was a fourth.
Yeah, that was very cagey. It makes me wonder if it was written in the script that way, but I mean, yeah, he didn't want to say goodbye. He was having a tough.
And
he was having
honestly,
a tough time with it.
With how he's losing his mind at that point, because if you think about it, it's radiation poisoning.
He's gone.
Yeah, like they all were dealing with some sort of radiation poisoning, and Cage just went,
which is what both
super cagey.
About,
exactly. Yeah, both stories are radiation poisoning.
Yeah, all coming from an otherworldly piece of rock.
Yeah.
That, all of the nastiness that it signifies, and the fact that it is just like spreading decay throughout the entirety of the area.
Yeah, but yet at the same time, with what happening is, once it's starting to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, but it's making the vegetation bloom and grow so vibrant.
It's almost like the energy is being transferred to other areas.
Exactly, but it's tainting everything.
Yeah.
So his
which we have in both the story and the film.
Yeah, a short little tidbit in the film and everything.
Yeah, where he tries to taste the produce and that's been grown. He's just like, oh, it's bitter, it's gross.
Yeah, it's all rotten and
it's
everything.
Not fit for consumption. And then also in the fact that it's spread into the well and the water that they're using at their home. And I mean, not in the story, obviously. But in the film, when Nick Cage, he's trying to shower and he gets like the lesions, nasty.
I'm still trying to figure out what the hell that little thing was he picked up off the shower, like that little blob of whatever.
Blob of goopousness. That was gelatinous
the
nastiness.
jisms.
That was that was on there. It was it was something else. But I mean, in both cases, this is one of those areas where I can like both incarnations of this film, and yet I'm also very curious to check out. There is a 1960s version of this film. There was also a 1980s version of this film, which was called The Curse and starred Will Wheaton. They actually did a couple sequels to it too, so who knows?
I've heard about the sequels and everything. I haven't gotten to watch around those yet. So
yeah, I haven't watched any of them. And then they tried making it in 2008. There's a foreign film from 2010. As Robert and I looked at the wiki. So yeah, this has been a popularly adapted story, but I feel like this is definitely one of the most prolific, just versions of it as far as the type of critical buzz that it's getting. I mean, it's also got a score from the person who did Hereditary, so, that really
the score for this movie was great.
The score is ridiculously good in this, man. Yeah. I'm glad that I've read the short, though.
I am too.
It gives so much more scope to the aspect of the analysis that was done once this meteor crashed, and the fact that, I mean, there was a piece that they're just, analyzing at
Miskatonic University.
Yeah, at the local uni, and just the reverberating aspects afterwards. I mean, our narrator is really just kind of retelling what he was told by the Army, whatever the guy's said.
Yeah, Ami, I can't remember his last name, but he's...
I should double check, because the very end of the story here, in this, check it out, peeps, we've got this, complete Lovecraft collection that I have regrettably been sitting on and not giving its proper attention to. But, I know, tisk in good regard, but when I'm reading so much Stephen King, it's just... It's just goddamn so much to take into consideration. But where is dude's name? For God's sake,
be right down here at the bottom somewhere.
Ami.
Yep.
Ami, however you want to properly pronunciate. But there was just one. It's the second to last paragraph in the actual novel, or the actual. It's like novella, short stories, whatever you want to classify it as. But it really gets the point across of just the nastiness of what crashed on Earth here. And not only the reverberating aspect of it, but also just how otherworldly it was, and the fact that, okay, something from space is really interdimensional to a degree, and that's why it's wreaking such terrific havoc in this, very small community of Arkham and the surrounding stuff. But what it is, only God knows. In terms of matter, I suppose the thing Ami described would be called gas, but this gas obeyed laws that are not of our cosmos. This was no fruit of such worlds and suns as shine on the telescopes and photographic plates of our observatories. This was no breath from the skies whose motions and dimensions our astronomers measure or deem too vast to measure. It was just a color out of space. A frightful messenger from unformed realms of infinity beyond all nature as we know it, from realms whose mere existence stuns the brain and numbs us with the black extra-cosmic gulfs it throws open before our frenzied eyes. If you want to talk about cosmic horror, man, I think that is kind of the epitome of it, right?
Yep.
My God, that passage alone is just
nutsoid. With this story and everything, it's still in regards of one of Lovecraft's best written stories.
I think you said it was your favorite, right?
It is definitely one of my favorites and everything. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Lovecraft. I got many tattoos of Lovecraft and everything.
I will Lovecraft you to death. Sorry. But I mean, sorry, I threw you off.
Yes, you're good.
Worthwhile, obviously, to both check out the short story and the film. Obviously.
Very much so.
And I just honestly really like the visual tones and takes that they did in trying to epitomize this otherworldly color that's not in our spectrum as they describe it. I
and granted, it's still our color spectrum and everything.
It's pinkishness.
Yeah, but they did a hell of a damn good job trying to create something unworldly. Yeah. And basically, for just a lack of a better term,
significantly unsettling.
Yeah,
seriously.
And then with the story and everything, they do take more liberties of going into more of the world of Lovecraft. So throughout Massachusetts, you have Arkham referenced, Miskatonic University, Innsmouth, and stuff like that.
Can you say shared universe?
Yeah. But that's one thing I wish they did introduce more into the story. Yeah. It's just that little bit aspect of when the researchers came out, they were basically breaking off bits of this rock, but they are more so just peeling off like Play-Doh. Yeah. But yet they were still holding that basically almost like a steel strength, but yet being extremely pliable at the same time. Well, radiating all this excess heat.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting analogy. I do dig that, in fact. I mean, it was just little pieces of stuff that is apparently a Lovecraft universe that, Stanley wants to, do further work on. He's in pre-production right now with filming later this year for the Dunwich Horror, which is going to be, it's going to feature the Necronomicon. It's going to go in all of that craziness.
With Dunwich, that would actually be a remake. Because they've already made a Dunwich horror movie, early 80s, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, that one I haven't gotten around to watch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hell, if Cecil is down for it, and we can get some, producer Aries stuff on the same page. I mean, hey, maybe just make it a Lovecraft, month at some particular point, or just like lots of further coverage. I think that would be like super rad status. So, yeah, this movie definitely shocked me with a lot of choices that it made, and just the disintegration of the daughter at the end. The fact that our water boy actually, got to live H2O and all that. I mean, he actually made it, which was dope status and stuff. Because I did like his character. I didn't like him initially, and he was essentially our like Ami stand-in, to a degree, as the person who went to this property, investigated initially, and I mean, both stories have their own merit, as far as the adaptation and the source material. The adaptation being the 2020 that we're discussing, but I mean, man, I'm actually curious about how other people have riffed on this really cool idea that feels like it has a lot of room to just kind of make it your own and do your own thing with, as they did here.
Oh, and they did a great job with it and everything, expanding this entire story and giving more detail of what actually happened to the Gardner family.
Yeah, focus on them. I mean, it makes sense, but it is still just like a smaller piece in a larger puzzle.
Exactly,
with the fact that they were trying to do that whole water reforming aspect. I mean, hell, man, it's even talked about in the short story, and that would have been like very early technological stuff.
Well, yeah, like I was saying to you too. One thing I thought was really neat is like his description of radiation poisoning back before they really knew all of what would happen with the poisonings, before we had our nuclear bombs and all that good stuff. Oh, where
the kids find the woodchuck and it's all like mutated and justified, and nobody ever saw it, and they just there's stories to be told and whatnot. It felt so Stephen King-y, as much as I love sci in the fact that it's very much of that same area of the country, the whole Massachusetts and New England and stuff like that. But I mean, even beyond
Dock East.
Yes, exactly. And it's the oldest area of the country, as far as settlement and stuff like that goes. So it would make the most sense that there could be some of the most told tales of terror from that particular area. And this was, I mean, it just makes me really want to follow suit with what Robert has obviously done before, and I've been too enamored with other things to properly seek out everything Lovecraft, and I want to read more of this stuff now at this time, man. It's officially like
it's an addiction.
It is. It's like, been incited within me. Right. But did you guys see The Color Out of Space? If you're watching the spoiler review of it, I would hope you did, but if you're just one of those sort of peeps who loves watching spoiler reviews before seeing a film, I believe it is available February 27th on VOD. It's also in limited engagement in select theaters around the country, so I don't know about, of course, the rest of the world, but yes, we do appreciate anybody from other parts of this globe that are tuning into this video. I've been Jaime and Fuego.
Robert Duell.
Make sure to check out our Patreon, guys. Jump on the link below. Tell us what to do, review, comment about, as far as, lengthy full film sort of discussion and stuff like that, commentaries, all that jazz.
Yeah, let us know what you thought about the movie and everything, especially, if you, like he was saying, if you haven't watched the movie and you're watching the spoiler review, go see this movie.
Seriously.
But, yeah, seriously, you need to go watch this movie. But let us know what you think about the movie and everything, even the story down in the comments below.
Yes, if you've read it, if you've seen it in any incarnation, any of those others that we haven't personally taken in, give us your thoughts about that. Do a little compare and contrast. But yeah, I guess Fright fans, to chew on that for a little bit. And until next time, remember, stay scared.